Everybody keeps talking about this Bradberry penalty at the end of the game. That wasn't the only reason why I thought this game could have been rigged. If you watch the game and just watch how the game was moving, the pace of the game, and how crazy certain things happen in each quarter, especially in the second quarter, when the Eagles dominated the ball. And if Jalen Hurts didn't make that drop and that touchdown run in by the Kansas City Chiefs defense, the game would have been out of reach before the second half of the game. And then it really started to happen in the third quarter with 3 minutes left of the game, of the third quarter. Everything started happening. All of a sudden, the Eagles defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. The front seven, by the way, this defense, which everybody was saying that this was arguably the best defense in football, I'm talking about the Eagles, they were horrible in the second half. They absolutely fell apart in the second half. And I hear everybody saying, well, who did the Eagles beat this year? Who did they play this year? These are all NFL teams. I don't care what quarterback you played this year. And Patrick Mahomes, automatically, you see Patrick Mahomes get hurt in the second quarter with, 2.5 minutes left of the game, of the half? He's limping off the field. You see his face and the face signs of, wow, this game could be over. Because we might be seeing a backup or two come into the game because it's not going to be him coming out in the second half. And what did we see? Patrick Mahomes came out in the second half, not limping, hopping, running, throwing out of the pocket. All of a sudden, Patrick Mahomes had a second life. He looked great. Fantastic. Untouchable. That this defense, after getting out of the pocket and moving out of the pocket, couldn't catch Patrick Mahomes. His limping leg. All of a sudden, Patrick Mahomes is fine. And everybody says, he got cortisone shots. He took pills. He took this. He took that. He did the same against the Bengals. And going into the second half, he was hobbling. Same thing happened. Patrick Mahomes couldn't get out of the pocket against the Bengals. All of a sudden, this guy's jetting up the field, throwing the ball, making passes that a quarterback who can't throw on his back leg can't make. How is this possible? Maybe he was faking it. Maybe the Kansas City Chiefs didn't want anybody to know that he wasn't 100% hurt. Because you want to know something? Anybody that has a high ankle sprain, anybody going into this game 2 weeks before this that couldn't even throw off his back leg or throw off his front leg in certain aspects of the game. If he couldn't do that in that game, how 2 weeks later he could do it in the second half as good as anybody in the league? That defensive call at the end of the game, it shouldn't have been called. You don't do that in the Super Bowl. Was it a penalty? It probably would have be called a penalty in a regular season game. But in this game, in a Super Bowl, when it's a tie game, and it's all about really field goal to field goal, or could go to overtime, or could cost a team a championship, you don't want to see a game end like that. This same thing happened in the fourth quarter against the Bengals. Was it a penalty? 100% was. Would I have called it when it was, 50 seconds left of the game? Absolutely not. You cannot put a team in position to lose a chance to play in the Super Bowl and then lose the Super Bowl because the great Patrick Mahomes is playing on the other side. I don't care what the NFL says, and I don't know if the game was completely rigged. But it's kind of fishy that all these things happen in the second half of the game. And everybody says, well, Andy Reid is great going into second halves and figuring things out and changing the way they play, formations and all this other stuff. Andy Reid was playing the same way he was playing in the first half. The same way. Run first on first down, throw second, throw third, and if there's 2 or 3 yards, you run on third down. He did it the whole game. Go look at the numbers. Go look at the pace of the game. He didn't change anything. How did the Eagles, all of a sudden, their defense fall apart? Because they were tired? Give me a break. They barely were on the field in the first half. And what happened to Darius Slay? The great Darius Slay.